going on, guys? This has been a long time coming. It feels a little bit weird to be back in front of the camera again, but it feels good, a good weird. I'm gonna go with that for now anyway. So the purpose of this video, it's been a long time coming, something that's really close to my heart, and obviously that I went through myself. I really just want to take the time to let you guys know a little bit more about me and why I actually do fitness. There's going to be a lot more videos to come, kind of focused on actually training, the movements and little tips and tricks I've learned along the way. But this video is one of the first ones I wanted to get out because I feel it's really important that now I feel comfortable that I share a little bit more into my personal life and the steps that led me to obviously today, and man actually weighs 14 stone. So I'm a little bit gassed and I think it's time to finally stand up. I was gonna say sit down, stand up, record this video and get it out there. You don't expect yourself to kind of be told things like this when you find yourself to be quite a strong-minded person, or I don't know. I think a lot of it's kind of, I'm speaking from a man's point of view, I think a lot of it is actually kind of a male bravado. You don't want to actually admit that you might need some help or you're kind of struggling. And I think it's really important to identify this as it happens, and just seek help as fast as possible. There's nothing to be ashamed of. As I said, if you really, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but if you really looked them up, you'd be surprised by how many people are going through this in this day and age. So as I said, I got diagnosed about 14 months ago. It actually caused me to, well, not caused me to, but I realized I needed to take some time away from what I was doing and change my surroundings. I won't go into all of the other stuff that was going on at the time, because I don't want to make this video too long, but let's just get straight to the point. So I left my job, I went self-employed, things are going well, we're building it up, and I'm actually really happy now, as I'm hoping you can actually see through this video. So where it all started, what happened is I went to a few therapy classes, or therapy sessions. I got a little bit of counselling, and they tried to prescribe me with some medication. Now, all of this stuff is obviously not across the board. This is my personal views. These were my choices, and I'm not saying that I would suggest anyone to do what I did. This is just what worked for me, and just spreading some general awareness for, you may see my Instagram now and be like, oh yeah, he's doing really well or whatever, but I think it's really important to convey the struggle it took to get to this point today. It was not easy, but we're here now and that's all that's important. And I really want to make sure that I get the message across that if you are going through anything similar, there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. It may not seem like it in whatever situation you're currently in, but I promise you, the biggest healer is time. And if you really put your effort into it and you're open to trying new things, you will overcome this illness, as they call it, or situation, whatever you want to call it. So for me personally, the counselling and the therapy, it actually didn't help. I didn't find I was able to relate to the people the NHS actually gave me. And then on top of that, the medication that they were suggesting I took, one of them was an antipsychotic, which obviously by the name, it doesn't sound too welcoming. I looked up all of the side effects and things that could potentially come on from taking this, and it was a no-brainer. I had to figure out a way to kind of overcome this by myself. I was confident in my ability to do it. It just meant doing a little bit of an investigation, finding out what I actually genuinely liked to do in my free time, and kind of just channeling every ounce of negative energy into this thing. For me, it turned out to be the gym. And I actually, at the start of this, started doing YouTube. I was vlogging. That really helped to kind of build my confidence. And obviously, as we touched on anxiety, there's no better way to overcome anxiety than going into town. I think it was Christmas, and I literally went and vlogged on Christmas Eve through the whole of the centre. By the end of it, I'm telling you, I was dripping with sweat, so anxious, but it was a real win to have done something like that, considering the kind of state of mind I found myself in at the time. So fast forward about, what, as I said, almost a year now, in a completely different place. I used to weigh 11.5 stone. I now weigh 14 stone, and hopefully that keeps going up because the goal is around 16 stone. But for me, what it was, the sheer power of training and just physically exerting yourself to that level on a consistent basis, combined with a few other kind of minor tweaks, kind of throwing myself in situations I didn't feel comfortable in to try and overcome the kind of social anxiety that they call it, was kind of the best way I found to actually overcome this. Obviously, I didn't know this at the time. I was just trying things, trial and error, really, just seeing what happened. But at this point, I'm hoping you can tell, I honestly can't believe it. Like, I'm gonna throw up a few clips in this video, which are gonna show you a video that is no longer available on YouTube, because although I'm comfortable talking about it and maybe helping some people, that video was a really dark place. I do think it's important you see a few little clips of it, just so you can really understand, and maybe understand that I can relate to you, regardless of what you think, how I feel now. If I show you these clips, you'll see how small I was, you'll see just how anxious I was on camera, and you're gonna see some emotion. But as I said, it's important for you to see, because without that, you won't really know kind of what I went through and how I got here today. So I'm gonna put up a clip of that. I'm gonna put the worst clip up now, and then we'll pick up after that.
I do kind of want to let you know how bad it has got, because I don't talk to anyone about it. And one thing I want to go back to is the reason why I started YouTube was to spread awareness and to help people maybe in a similar situation like me, if not worse off. Like last week was a bit crazy. I had like one of my parents crying down the phone to me, begging me not, like, it's f***ed up, man, it's f***ed up where this will take you. But I don't want to talk about that too much. I just want to let you know, because that's kind of not something I would tell anyone. So I feel like including that in this video, is kind of a stepping stone for me. I'm just gonna need to...
So as you can see from that clip, it was awkward, it was horrible. Funnily enough, recording that video actually really helped. I'm not sure what it is about kind of putting your personal business out there, which you may not be too proud of. It actually really helped to know that people just knew the headspace I was in, the state of mind I was in. I felt a lot more comfortable owning the problem itself, and that was probably quite a crucial step in terms of what got me here now, and the progress I've made in the gym. So now you've seen that, I just want you to really compare that to maybe what you're seeing now. I'm hoping you can just see how genuinely happy, how good I feel, and this is a daily routine that I feel like this. It is fantastic. And I mean, from someone, as you saw in the clip, who no longer wanted to be on this earth anymore, to now appreciating every single second I'm given on this planet, I'm just really hoping it can show anyone else there who is suffering and going through similar things, if not the same exact thing, that you really, really can overcome it. And for me, for your family, for everyone you love, please do not give up hope, because as I said earlier, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I like to think that I've actually gotten over that quite a long time ago. I wanted to make sure I was really secure in knowing that that period of my life was over before recording this video, because I didn't want it to be a contradiction. Film this video one day and then the next day anxiety be flaring up. Now, don't get me wrong, I still get anxious sometimes. Now, that is just normal for humans. We get anxious depending on our surroundings. The level of anxiety, though, is what needs to be watched. If it's stopping you from doing things, and only you will really know, because a saying that I like to say is, you can lie to everyone else, but you cannot lie to yourself. So I'm a really big advocate of anything I put out there needs to be 100% backed. I don't care what anyone else thinks. You have to know that for yourself and be in that place for yourself. It's not about just putting out this perception, which is why I wanted to record this, because you look at my Instagram and you might think, oh, like, he's fine, he goes to the gym, he doesn't get anxious, but I'm hoping from the clips the one clip I've shown you, I'm just really hoping that that can show you that I was not like this all the time. And to be honest, if you're talking like a year, in terms of your life, that's a very short period of time. So you can go from a very dark place to a very positive place in a short space of time. And that's what I kind of want to convey through this video. I didn't want to plan kind of what I spoke about, so sorry if I'm all over the place, but this is like a really important topic to me, and there is no plan. You can't plan for these things to happen. It's just, it is what it is. I wanted the content to be raw, and I'm hoping that makes it a lot easier for you to relate to the stuff I'm saying. If you find yourself in any of those situations that we just discussed, it doesn't have to be training, but if you honestly, for me it's training, so we're going to talk about that, but if you honestly put every ounce of your mental energy and your physical energy into building yourself up to a point that even you would respect, or you would walk past and be like, yeah. For me, is you can't put a value on that feeling, especially when you value yourself. I did put up a video on my old YouTube channel, which is actually steps or my tips for dealing with anxiety. If you literally just type my username into YouTube, the J Unknown one, you'll find all the old videos I made. Now, brace yourself. I do look very different. I was in a very different place. But if you do want to find out a little bit more about how I was before now, you're gonna find it all on that YouTube page. But back to the point, the gym for me is therapy. As I said to you, I really struggled with the therapy, what do you call them? Counselors. I really struggled with the counselors that they were giving me. So I knew I had to find another way of achieving the same goal that I could get from counseling, if that makes sense. So I've always been into the gym on and off, and then I decided to really give it my all. For those of you who don't know, the reason I'm taking it so seriously is because I'm hoping to become a qualified PT at some stage, as well as pick up some sponsorships or affiliations with some brands. It's one of those things which I've been so scared, well, not scared, but apprehensive about talking about this for a long time. But I really do feel I'm at that stage now where the most important thing is spreading awareness, as well as helping others that are in a similar situation. I will never forget the feeling of how alone I felt going through all of that. And I wouldn't wish that. It was not the sort of thing you'd wish on your worst enemy, as they say. It's not healthy to be like that. You have to admit it to yourself, which is definitely one of the hardest steps. Kind of just admitting to yourself that you need help or things aren't going exactly how you'd like mentally or socially. Once you've kind of done that with yourself and understand that it's okay, and it really is. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how hench you are, it doesn't matter about all these aesthetic things. It's about how you feel. Do not worry about how others might perceive you or how they think of you, because that, when it comes to you sat there not wanting to be on this earth anymore, those people do not matter. Their opinions do not matter. And instead of shaping our lives to be seen or portrayed how we want them to, I think it's important to actually portray our lives as they are, which is hard, I know. But in a world where things are just growing more and more, there's more importance on just like, likes and followers and things like that, and that really doesn't help people that are going through anxiety. So maybe if you are really struggling with it, take a step back off social media. I actually did do that, and I found it really, really beneficial. I only came back onto it once I felt I knew myself, I was comfortable with myself, and you know what? I loved me as a person. Now, I went from absolutely hating myself to loving myself, and that feeling, there is no definition or words that can explain that feeling, and what it means when you know the raw struggle that you went through to get there. And the more and more I've been training, the more and more people come out and reach out to me and ask me questions and things like that. And my social platform, although I've only got, I think it's dropped now. I was at 600 and really happy, but it's gone down a little bit. But I didn't have that many when I first started this journey. So I am a little bit scared that the new followers I've got don't actually know why I'm doing this to the core reason and what it took to get here. And at first I was like, do you know what? Let's leave that behind. Let's not talk about it again. You're a new person. But then I thought that is the complete wrong approach to have. Especially for me, I like to help people. I want to, not just physically, I want to improve people's mental state, or at least help where I can. So not putting this out would have been criminal. I had to talk about it again, and as I said, is a journey just like maybe some of you are going through. I had to make sure I was solid in my foundation of who I was, what I thought of myself, let alone what anyone else thought. And then as long as I knew that was cool, concrete, in cement, no one could change that, that's when I wanted to pick up the camera again and start talking about it from the other side. So making it through. Because I know what it feels like when you're in that hole. But yeah, I really do hope that what I've said, maybe just opening the doors to letting you know the stages I went through to get here, hopefully that will give you a good understanding of why I literally pour everything into training, because that has become my therapy. That is, if I have a bad day, that's how I deal with it. If I lack motivation, that's how I get more. If I'm thinking about a lot, that's where I clear my mind. And as I said, it really doesn't have to be training, but if there's anything you feel as passionate about as I do training, do it. It doesn't have to earn you money. That's not what life's essentially about. Like, if you have a hobby but you say, I don't have time for it, make time. These things are going to be the only things that actually help your state of mind elevate from where you're currently finding it. Like, if you don't do the stuff you love or enjoy, and you're just doing the stuff for monetary gain, how can you expect to change your mindset or appreciate life in a different light, or even see things from a different perspective? And that's another thing that training's done. I was patient before this, but understanding like human behavior and my own behavior has just like opened doors. Like, I used to get so wound up over the smallest things of people, and now it's just, you just got to learn to appreciate these attributes of these people. And then you might not take it. You might not get your back up against the wall and be so defensive regardless of what the situation is. It doesn't have to be anything specific, but I'm sure you know what I mean when people just get on your nerves. But your energy is better spent on doing something positive than caring about other people's opinions of you or perspective. Like, if they want to essentially try and micromanage your life, then that's up to them. You've got stuff to do. Like, you ain't got time for that. So get yourself out, pick yourself up. I know it's hard sometimes, But if you find yourself in that like dark place, which if you have gone through what I'm talking about, you know what the dark place is. It's not a place we like to be. And as I said, it might not seem like there's another day after the day you're currently in, but I don't want to swear, but I promise you, by spending more time on doing something you love, you will really start to value life a little bit more. We all have to work, we all have bills to pay, but that doesn't mean that you give up the one thing that is most important to keeping a healthy mind state, which is doing and filling your life with things that you enjoy. So I'm going to end the video there because I am a little bit scared that I'm repeating myself. I really, really hope that in some way this video can help some people out there, or just open your eyes instead of just looking at my pictures and thinking, oh yeah, he's managed to get like in good shape, he just does gym. No. I came from a very different place, and it was perseverance that got here. So keep your heads up. If you feel the need to just reach out to someone and let them know, and you just want to kind of have a chat with someone about it, or you want to ask me some tips about training or anything to do with this subject, I'm all ears, because I know what it's like to be in that situation and feel like you don't have anyone to turn to. You're not alone. You'd be surprised by the statistics of people that are going through a similar thing, and you 100% can come out the other end a better person. So yeah, my name is Jay. Take it easy. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Safe.